The first part of Bridgerton Season 4 dropped on January 29th, and I'm willing to bet many of you binged it the very same day. Guilty as charged. I did too. I'm so obsessed with this season that I've already watched part 1 twice, and I cannot stop thinking about Benedict's final words. Honestly, the most haunting line in the entire show? Be my mistress. And who saw that coming from Benedict? Not me. But here we are. Now, all eyes are on part 2. How will it unfold, and what awaits us? Before diving into Sophie and Benedict, I need to talk about Francesca, because I've got a theory I have to share. In part 1, Francesca seemed lost. She discovered Pinnacle exists, but she's never been there, and she blames herself for not being pregnant. But watch out, because our girl is determined to get there. And I think I know how. Watching her intimate scenes with John made me feel so sorry for her. She's trying way too hard to enjoy something that clearly isn't for her. After Michaela's reveal last season, I assumed Francesca might be bisexual, but honestly, she doesn't seem interested in men. Now that Michaela has paid her a visit, I predict some tense, confusing moments ahead. Here's my theory. During one of Francesca's intimate moments with John, Michaela might cross her mind, unintentionally preventing her from reaching Pinnacle. She'll feel confused, maybe even ashamed, though she won't admit why. And in part 2, I'm expecting some really juicy scenes between Michaela and Francesca, especially since rumors suggest Season 5 will focus on Francesca's love life. What do you think? Let's talk about it in the comments. Now, on to Sophie and Benedict. While race isn't usually addressed in the Bridgerton universe, Queen Charlotte's storyline shows it does matter to some extent. So, I can't wrap my head around how Benedict didn't notice Sophie's Asian features, or how he imagined a blue-eyed girl could be the lady in silver. But fine, the show claims months have passed, and Benedict has started forgetting what she looked like. So, I'll allow it. In the Part 2 trailer, Benedict tries to speak to Sophie, and she barely acknowledges him. Ouch, that disappointment hits hard. I always thought Benedict would defy social expectations, but he still has 2 single sisters to consider. And that whole "be my mistress" moment? Yikes. Even if it promises Sophie protection, a home, and everything she could want, she doesn't want to be anyone's secret. She refuses to feel less than other women because of her social status. And honestly, who could blame her? She loves her current work, but she's planning to leave the Bridgerton house. We see her confiding in Mama Bridgerton about another offer, and my heart breaks for her. Add to that her evil stepmother moving in next door. No wonder she wants out. Here's my take. Benedict needs to realize his offer wasn't as thoughtful as he thought. He has to make it up to Sophie, maybe explain his intentions, but ultimately he should propose and show he doesn't care about her social standing at all. If he does this before Sophie's true identity is revealed, it would be a genuine, bold declaration of love. Then she can finally reveal why she's now a maid. Once that's out, there's no turning back. Mama Bridgerton, Penelope, and Lady Whistledown will handle the fallout, and Benedict will make sure Sophie gets everything she deserves. Part 2 hits Netflix on February 26th, wrapping up the season. So tell me, what do you think Benedict will do? Let's discuss it in the comments. The trailer immediately sets the stage for what looks like an emotional storm between Sophie and Benedict. From the very first second, you can tell that the dynamics are shifting. Sophie has changed. She's not just the sweet, hardworking girl trying to navigate a world of titles, etiquette, and secret whispers. She's someone who's starting to understand her own worth, and she isn't willing to compromise it anymore. You can feel it in the way she moves, the way she looks at Benedict, and the tension in every scene they share. Benedict, on the other hand, seems completely aware of the consequences of his past actions, but his pride and his ideas about family, duty, and honor are still getting in the way. The trailer gives these fleeting but powerful moments where you can see Benedict trying to explain himself, trying to make amends, but Sophie isn't fully listening. Or maybe she's listening too carefully, analyzing every word, every hesitation. And that's what makes it so thrilling. The push and pull, the uncertainty of whether he will ever truly understand what she wants or if he'll mess it up again. The tension isn't just emotional. It's almost physical. Every glance, every step they take around each other carries the weight of what's unsaid, what's expected, and what they both desperately want but are terrified to admit. You can feel Sophie's inner conflict. She wants to trust him, she wants to believe in their love, but she's also afraid that his world will never fully accept her, that he'll still see her as someone who has less than him socially, even if he says otherwise. And Benedict? He's in his own spiral. You can see him trying to reconcile his feelings, trying to fight against the expectations of his family, but also battling his own guilt and confusion. The trailer even teases moments where Sophie seems distant, almost untouchable, and Benedict's frustration is palpable. And what's brilliant about this is that it's not just about romantic tension. It's about identity, social status, and the courage to defy the rules that have been set by society. Every line in the trailer feels loaded, every pause has meaning, and every expression tells a story beyond words. And for fans like us who have been waiting since part 1, this is the perfect storm. Emotions, stakes, and a love story that could finally break free, or collapse completely if Benedict doesn't get it right. Honestly, just watching it once gave me chills. I kept rewinding, trying to catch every subtle look, every hesitation, and every micro-expression, because you know that in Bridgerton, that's where the drama lives. The trailer also hints at moments where Sophie might finally confront Benedict in ways she didn't before, holding him accountable, questioning his motives, and demanding the respect she deserves. And that, my friends, is the part I'm most excited about, because if there's one thing that could make part 2 unforgettable, it's seeing Sophie take control of her story while Benedict realizes that love isn't just about words, it's about actions, sacrifice, and sometimes being willing to risk everything to prove that he's truly all in. One of the most striking things about the part 2 trailer is how much it hints at Sophie stepping out of the shadows. In part 1, she was often quiet, always accommodating, always thinking about what others expected of her. But the trailer gives us a glimpse of a Sophie who is not just reacting, she's acting. You can see it in her eyes, the way she carries herself, and even in the brief interactions with Benedict. There's this simmering tension, like a storm is about to break. And honestly, I think that's exactly what the writers want us to feel. Because after that "be my mistress" moment, it's clear that Sophie's patience has limits. She's not going to settle for a secret relationship, a half-hearted apology, or a love that is weighed down by societal expectations. She wants full recognition, respect, and someone who sees her as an equal, not someone she has to negotiate for. And Benedict? He's in the most vulnerable position I've ever seen him in. For the first time, he can't just charm his way out of a situation. Every expression, every hesitant step, and every awkward line in the trailer shows that he's finally realizing the gravity of his mistake. He's not just fighting for Sophie's love anymore. He's fighting against his own pride, the expectations of his family, and the pressure of the world that has shaped him. There's this one moment in the trailer, just a fleeting glance between them, but you can feel everything: regret, desire, longing, and fear. And honestly, that's the kind of tension that makes you hold your breath. You're left wondering, will he finally do the right thing, or will he falter one more time? And that's what makes part 2 so thrilling. The trailer also teases the possibility of confrontation. Sophie isn't just thinking about leaving. She's actively planning, weighing her options, and testing Benedict in ways that could finally force him to show his true self. It's fascinating because, in the first part, we saw him as a man torn between duty and desire. Now, it looks like the scales are tipping, and the choice is no longer theoretical. It's urgent, emotional, and could completely change their trajectory. I can almost feel the tension building in the scenes, Benedict trying to find the words, Sophie holding back, the unspoken emotions practically vibrating between them. And the trailer doesn't just focus on their relationship in isolation, it hints at the ripple effects through the entire Bridgerton household. Family, society, expectations, they're all in play, and Sophie and Benedict are stuck in the middle, trying to navigate love, identity, and social rules all at once. It's exactly this kind of emotional complexity that makes Bridgerton so addictive. Watching the trailer, you can sense that every decision they make in part 2 won't just affect them. It will affect everyone around them. And that adds a level of suspense I haven't felt since the earlier seasons. The stakes feel higher, the emotions rawer, and the possible heartbreaks even more painful. And honestly, that's why I can't stop thinking about it. Sophie's journey is becoming her own story, and Benedict has to either rise to the occasion or risk losing her forever. And if there's one thing the trailer made crystal clear, it's that neither of them can predict what the other will do next. Every interaction feels like a delicate game, where one wrong move could shatter trust, ignite jealousy, or open the door to something completely unexpected. And I think that unpredictability is exactly what we need for part 2. Because let's face it, a predictable romance just wouldn't cut it for Sophie and Benedict anymore. The trailer also hints at Sophie and Benedict facing not just emotional but social challenges, and honestly, that's what makes part 2 so much more gripping. In part 1, we saw how their relationship was complicated by expectations. Benedict's family, societal norms, and the very rigid world they live in. But now, in part 2, it looks like those pressures are about to explode in their faces. The trailer teases moments where Sophie is clearly questioning her place in his world. You can see it in her posture, in the way she holds herself during conversations, and in her sharp, almost guarded glances at Benedict. She's not just waiting for him to make the first move anymore, she's analyzing, calculating, and maybe even testing him. And that's where the suspense kicks in. Because we know Benedict, and we know he's not always great at saying the right thing at the right time. The trailer gives us a glimpse of him struggling, fumbling, and even overcompensating at moments. And it's heartbreaking, because you can feel his desperation to make things right. But Sophie isn't the same girl he thought she was. She's stronger, wiser, and less willing to forgive him without seeing real proof of his intentions. There's also something about the trailer that makes it feel like secrets might come to the surface. Part 1 set up so many unresolved issues: his offer, her identity, the societal expectations, and part 2 looks like it's going to force both of them to confront the truth. You can feel it in those few seconds of Benedict looking almost panicked, trying to explain something, and Sophie staring at him as if she's seeing him for the first time. And I think that's the brilliance of this season. It's not just romance, it's a test of character, trust, and integrity. Every choice they make could either bring them closer together or push them completely apart. And from what the trailer shows, the tension is almost unbearable. There are moments where they're physically close but emotionally miles apart, and that's what makes your heart ache as a viewer. You're constantly wondering, will Benedict finally break through Sophie's walls, or will he stumble again? And Sophie, she's no longer just a damsel in distress. She's someone who demands action, someone who won't settle for half-hearted love, and someone who can challenge Benedict in ways that even he might not expect. The stakes are higher than ever because it's not just about love, it's about respect, identity, and the courage to stand up for yourself in a world that expects you to stay small. And honestly, that's why the trailer feels so intense. You can see the push and pull, the fear of vulnerability, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll both choose love over fear. Part 2 isn't going to be easy for either of them, and that's exactly what makes it so exciting. The tension, the suspense, and the emotional weight in those few trailer moments are enough to make any fan completely obsessed, just like I am right now. And if part 2 follows the hints in this trailer, we are in for a season filled with emotional explosions, dramatic confrontations, and maybe, finally, the kind of love that doesn't have to hide anymore. One of the most exciting and honestly nerve-wracking aspects of the part 2 trailer is how it teases Sophie taking charge of her destiny and Benedict being forced to face consequences he can't charm his way out of. In part 1, we saw him make mistakes, big ones, but there was always a sense that he could smooth things over with words, gestures, or social influence. Part 2 looks like it's stripping that safety net away. Sophie isn't just standing her ground. She's moving forward, making decisions, and creating opportunities that could completely change her life. You can see it in the trailer, even in just fleeting moments. Sophie walking with purpose, looking determined, and even giving Benedict a look that says, "This isn't about you, this is about me." That alone is enough to make your heart pound because it signals a shift in their dynamic. Benedict can no longer be the one controlling the narrative. He has to meet her halfway or risk losing her entirely. And honestly, that's where the suspense comes in. The trailer suggests there will be heated conversations, confrontations, and maybe even moments where Sophie calls him out in ways we've never seen before. You can see it in her eyes, sharp, unwavering, and demanding respect. And Benedict? He's clearly flustered, unsure, and for the first time, vulnerable in front of her in a way that feels raw and real. I think what makes this part of the trailer so thrilling is the emotional complexity it hints at. They aren't just navigating feelings, they're navigating pride, past mistakes, social expectations, and the fear of being judged or misunderstood. It's high stakes, and it feels like every scene is packed with tension. And let's not forget the subtle hints of romance that the trailer sprinkles in between all the tension. The brief moments where Benedict reaches for Sophie or where their eyes meet across a room carry so much weight because we know how fragile their situation is. It's not casual flirting anymore, it's a silent communication, a test of trust, and a challenge to both of them. The trailer even teases that there may be moments where Sophie begins to question not just Benedict's intentions, but the life she wants for herself. Will she accept his love on his terms, or will she demand the kind of partnership where she's fully seen and valued? That question alone makes every second of the trailer feel electric. And what I love is that the suspense isn't just about will they get together, it's about how they get there. Will Benedict prove that he can be selfless, patient, and brave? Will Sophie allow herself to trust again after the hurt of part one? And more importantly, what obstacles will society throw in their path? The trailer is teasing so many possibilities: misunderstandings, miscommunications, and moments of emotional vulnerability that could either break them or bring them closer together. And just like in the previous seasons, every glance, every hesitation, and every choice feels significant. You can tell the writers are building towards something huge, something that will test both Sophie and Benedict in ways that will make viewers sit on the edge of their seats. Part 2 promises to be more than just a continuation. It looks like it will challenge the very foundation of their relationship, force them to confront truths about themselves and each other, and, if they survive it, redefine what it means to truly love someone in the Bridgerton universe. The trailer makes it clear that nothing will be easy, but if they get it right, the payoff could be absolutely breathtaking. And I have to say, just watching those moments, I felt a mix of excitement, anxiety, and hope, all at the same time.